When we think of billionaires, we picture tech companies, flashy investments, mega brands like Tesla, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. That's the public story, the one they want you to know. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Billionaires don't just get rich from the companies you see on billboards. They build empires in the shadows, secret businesses, quiet investments, industries they'll never brag about on stage at a conference, but that quietly funnel billions into their pockets. And these hidden businesses aren't glamorous. Some are ugly, some are controversial, and some are so boring you'd never imagine they're more profitable than a shiny app or luxury car brand. But that's exactly why billionaires love them. They're invisible cash machines, operating behind the curtain while the world is distracted by the headlines. Today, we're going inside 4 secret businesses that billionaires rely on to stay rich. Businesses you've probably never heard of, but that might just shock you more than anything they do in public. Point 1. Data farms, the invisible gold rush. When you hear the word farm, you think of cows, cornfields, and tractors. But billionaires have quietly built a different kind of farm, data farms. These aren't rows of crops. They're endless racks of servers humming in giant windowless warehouses across the world. And here's the secret. While we think billionaires are making money from selling us phones or social media apps, the real cash flow comes from harvesting our data, our clicks, our searches, our voices, even our private habits. Take Google, Facebook, Amazon. Sure, they're household names, but their most profitable business isn't the flashy products. It's the hidden trade of data. Every website you visit, every like you hit, every item you put in your online shopping cart, it's collected, stored, and packaged. Then it's sold to advertisers, governments, and corporations for billions. Think of it as a new kind of oil rush, where the wells aren't in the ground, they're in your phone, and it gets darker. Data farms aren't just about targeted ads. They're about predicting your behavior. Companies track everything from your sleep schedule to your spending patterns to your political leanings. Some experts say they know more about you than your family does. And who owns these farms? Not small businesses, not governments, but billionaires, who quietly sit behind the curtain, pulling the strings. These data centers are so massive, they consume entire cities' worth of electricity. Some estimates suggest they account for nearly 2% of the world's total energy use. In drought-stricken regions, data centers suck up millions of gallons of water just to keep servers cool. But here's the kicker. The companies don't tell you this. They market themselves as green, while secretly burning through resources like a coal plant. So while the world watches billionaires show off their rocket launches and new gadgets, the real gold mine sits quietly in warehouses across America, China, and Europe. A new kind of empire where you, your private life, your secrets, your habits, are the product. And the billionaires at the top? They don't need your applause. They already own your digital soul. Point 2. Private equity and shadow banking. Owning without owning. When you look at billionaire wealth, you often see headlines about flashy companies, Tesla, Amazon, Meta. But what if I told you that's just the distraction? The real power game happens in a world called private equity and shadow banking, where billionaires don't just build companies, they buy everything else in silence. Here's how it works. Private equity firms are like financial black holes. They raise billions from investors, often billionaires themselves, and use that money to quietly buy up struggling businesses. Restaurants, nursing homes, retail stores, even entire neighborhoods. They swoop in, restructure the company, strip it down, sell it off, and walk away with profits. The workers? Usually left with layoffs, pay cuts, or closed doors. Billionaires love private equity because it's invisible. You won't see Elon Musk's name on the local grocery chain or Jeff Bezos stamped on a retirement home. But through shadow banking, billionaires are in control of everyday life. Where you shop, where you eat, even how your medical care runs. One private equity giant, Blackstone, is one of the largest landlords in the United States, quietly owning tens of thousands of homes. And guess what? That means they influence your rent without you ever knowing their name. It gets even darker. Shadow banking operates outside the traditional banking system. While your local bank has rules, regulations, and oversight, these billionaire-run financial giants have almost none. They move money through shell companies, offshore accounts, and complex structures designed to avoid taxes and scrutiny. Some experts say shadow banking now controls over $60 trillion worldwide, more than the GDP of the entire planet. And here's the controversy. When these firms buy up nursing homes or hospitals, they often slash costs to maximize profits. Studies show that patient care declines, mortality rates rise, and communities suffer. Yet the billionaires behind these deals never get named or blamed. They keep their hands clean while the companies they own collapse. This is the secret empire of billionaires. Owning without owning. No logos, no headlines, no spotlight. Just quiet control over the systems that shape your daily life. When people say billionaires run the world, this is what they mean. Not with flashy companies, but with invisible empires of shadow money. Point 3. Luxury water and resource control. Selling what should be free. Forget gold, forget oil. The most valuable resource in the 21st century is water, and billionaires know it. While the world argues about climate change and droughts, the ultra-rich are quietly buying up water rights, bottling companies, and even entire aquifers. Their goal? To turn what should be free into a trillion-dollar business. Take Nestlé, for example. Most people know them for chocolate bars and coffee, but Nestlé makes billions by extracting groundwater, bottling it, and selling it back to the public. The kicker? They often pay almost nothing for the rights. In parts of the US, they've been accused of paying as little as $200 a year to extract millions of gallons of water, then selling it for billions in plastic bottles. Who benefits? Shareholders. And behind the curtain, billionaires who invested in these companies. But it doesn't stop at bottled water. Wealthy investors have started quietly buying farmland in drought-prone areas, not for crops, but for the water rights underneath. In California's Central Valley, billionaires own land not to grow food, but to secure control of underground aquifers. When droughts hit, they can sell or trade that water like oil on a market. Ordinary families struggle to pay rising water bills, while billionaires profit from what should be a basic human right. And here's the darkest part. Water wars are coming. Experts warn that as populations grow and climates dry up, water will be more valuable than oil ever was. And who will control it? Not governments, not communities, but billionaires who had the foresight and the cash to buy it first. This isn't just greed, it's a power grab. Imagine a future where billionaires don't just own your rent and your data, they own the water you drink. Every sip you take becomes another coin in their pocket. They don't need to control countries when they can control the one resource no human can live without. So next time you see a billionaire bragging about rockets or electric cars, ask yourself, what's their real business? Because behind the scenes, the ugliest secret is this. They're not chasing the future of luxury. They're hoarding the future of survival. Point 4. Agricultural monopolies. Billionaires controlling your food. Food is life. It's the one thing every human being needs, every single day, and billionaires know it. That's why some of the richest people on the planet have quietly been buying up farmland, agricultural companies, and seed monopolies. Not because they care about farming, but because they know that controlling food means controlling people. Take Bill Gates. On paper, he's the founder of Microsoft, the tech guy. But here's the hidden story. Gates is now the largest private farmland owner in the United States. He owns over 250,000 acres spread across dozens of states. Why would a software billionaire need farmland? Publicly, it's framed as sustainable agriculture and climate-smart farming. But critics argue it's about cornering the future of food. And it's not just farmland. Billionaires are investing heavily in seed patents. Companies like Monsanto, now Bayer, hold patents on genetically modified seeds, meaning farmers can't replant crops without paying licensing fees. Billionaires back these companies because it turns farming, something humans have done freely for thousands of years, into a locked pay-to-play system. You want to grow corn? Pay. Wheat? Pay. Soybeans? Pay. It's the ultimate monopoly, charging humanity for the right to grow food. The controversial part? These billionaires often promote philanthropy around food. They talk about feeding the hungry, fighting climate change, building sustainable futures. But while they smile for cameras, they're also buying up water rights, agricultural AI, and massive tracts of land. Some are even experimenting with lab-grown meat and synthetic foods, patented products that could replace traditional farming entirely. Critics warn this could lead to a future where billionaires don't just influence what food is grown, but what food we're allowed to eat. Imagine walking into a supermarket where every product is tied to billionaire-controlled patents. Prices don't just reflect farming costs, they reflect monopoly power. And this isn't just about the US. In countries across Africa and Asia, billionaire-backed foundations are pushing farmers to adopt GMO seeds and corporate farming models, locking entire nations into dependence. Once small farmers can't compete, the billionaires don't just own the land, they own the food chain itself. Here's the scary truth. Wars may be fought over weapons, but the future wars will be fought over food. And the billionaires who control agriculture won't need armies. They'll have something far stronger, control over every dinner plate in the world. So now you know, billionaires don't just build flashy companies for headlines. They control the shadows. They own your data. They quietly dictate your rent. They sell you your own water. They profit from endless war. And they control the very food you eat. And here's the controversial truth. Billionaires don't just chase luxury, they chase necessity. They don't just own products, they own survival. Now let me ask you, should a handful of billionaires be allowed to own data, water, war, and food? Or is that the biggest threat humanity faces? Drop your answer below, because the businesses you've never heard about are the ones already shaping your life.